And we're live. Welcome to the Team Tank Podcast. We are now the Lakers Outsiders. This is the first time in a long time we've all been on the same show here. We have a special show tonight after all of the March Madness that took place this last weekend, and with college basketball at the forefront of everybody's minds, we decided we would go ahead and do another mock draft, but we tweaked it a little bit. I and Harrison, we had no idea what the hell we were doing during the last one, so we said we would leave it to the people who do. So Harrison is playing the Wojnarowski of our podcast, and I'll just be hosting and making snarky comments about everybody's picks. We have with us Gary, Matt, and Ryan, whose internet started tanking because he was trying to watch a Philadelphia 76ers game. So that held us up a little bit. How's everybody doing? Are you guys ready to draft the future of this NBA?
Yes, sir.
I am. I've been scouting for countless hours. So,
if by scouting you mean rewatching Steve Novak videos, I don't like your chances.
I mean, there's other people in those videos. It's like, yeah, he's draining threes, but you can like kind of see what the other people in the videos are doing.
Perfect. So the way we're going to come up with our draft order today is we're going to throw out a shameless plug of our Laker roll call bracketology that we have going on right now. So I have my own favorite Laker role player of all time, and the three guys who will be drafting are going to try to guess who that is, or whom that is, if you want to speak grammatically. So whoever is the closest or gets it on the head will go first. Who's ever furthest away from it will go third. Make sense, everybody?
So it can't be a starter, right?
Yeah, no. As long as anybody who's not in the Hall of Fame or doesn't have their Laker number retired.
Okay.
All right.
I'll guess first.
All right, go ahead.
Well, it depends on your definition of role player. I'll say, well, and you said it could be as long as they're not in the Hall of Fame, right? That's what you said.
All right, as long as they aren't in the Hall of Fame, and I mean none of the Lakers players who have their jersey retired aren't in the Hall of Fame. So yeah.
I know you like lefties, so I'm gonna say Lamar Odom.
Ooh, that's a guess. We'll go ahead with that. I don't want to give anybody hints. Matt, you want to go next?
Nick Van Axel.
Ooh, he got it on the head. Matt will be going first. All right, Gary, here's to not go third.
I was going to say Eddie Jones.
That's another good one. He's probably second on my list. Lamar Odom will be third among those guys. I'm just glad none of you guys went stupid and said like Slava Medvedenko or something like that.
Samaki Walker.
Oh, he was so bad. All right, so it will be Matt, Gary, then Ryan for these picks. So Ryan, and we're going off of the standings as currently listed on Tankathon's website right now. So in that order, not lottery based. Does that make sense?
Wait, who do you guys have for 7th and 8th? Because it says Denver and Detroit have a coin.
I have
Detroit.
Detroit.
7th, and then Denver 8. So we'll go on.
Yeah, I just have the Tankathon thing up.
Yeah, that's what I have. It's just that it's on like a coin flip, so it'll change every 10 minutes. So we'll have what, Denver or Detroit 7th?
Yeah, so I'll just make a note of that.
Okay.
Detroit. All right. Any other questions before we get going?
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to find some diamonds in the rough.
The other thing, too, the nice thing about having three people here is that after your pick, go ahead and give a couple sentences about how they fit with the team you're drafting them for and why, how that team would look moving forward. Yeah, I'm asking you guys to know what you're talking about a little bit here. I hope you guys can fulfill that role. I couldn't. All right, so Matt, you are on the clock with the first overall selection. You are picking for the New York Knickerbockers.
Okay. As much as I want this guy to fall to the Lakers, wherever they are, I don't think he will unless we're first. So I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns for New York. My opinion, the best prospect player, however you want to put it in the draft. I think a lot of people are starting to agree that he's either caught Okafor or passed them. I've seen Towns first on a lot of mock drafts. So I think he could fit with really any team. So that's who I think New York would go with.
I like it. It's interesting that he's passed Okafor the way he did. I didn't see that coming, to be honest.
Yeah. No, he's been amazing for like a good stretch now of the season.
Right. And the fact that he's done that while playing on such a strong team and not necessarily getting the minutes and attention that Okafor gets.
Right on.
All right, so we'll go next on the list, I believe, is Gary. Who are you picking? You are picking for Minnesota.
Yep. So I'm going to just kind of go with the obvious pick here for Minnesota and take Jahlil Okafor. I think him with Andrew Wiggins is, I mean, just a combination that would be incredible, down in a couple of years, if not like right away. He's just so polished in the post, and it's really remarkable for someone his age that he'll have an elite post game in the NBA, I think, when he starts, just because he's so advanced in that area. He has to improve defensively, obviously, but with Wiggins out on the perimeter, that might be able to help, contain some dribble penetration and things like that. And just really, I think they're taking just the best prospect on the board by taking Jahlil Okafor number 2.
So if that happens, would you see some kind of trade maybe happening, get rid of Pekovic?
I think so. You'd have to it's hard. I don't know. You could have him come off the bench, but he just signed a new deal, I think, and he's making a decent amount of money. So I think you would try and trade him to a team that could use another big man.
I was gonna say moving him would be tough because his contract I think it's like 14 mil per year or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's not worth thinking about. It's like if you have Okafor there, you just take him.
Yeah.
Worry about it later.
I feel like whoever's at number 2, basically you're just taking, Towns or Okafor, just whichever one didn't go number 1.
Right. And they could also, if they can't move Pekovic, you could always turn around and try to move Jang or whatever that guy's name is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's cheap. I would just keep him. Yeah, Pekovic's contract still has 3 more years after this one, so it'll be tough to move him, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right, so we have both bigs off the board, and next up on the board is Ryan. You are selecting for
The Sixers.
Philly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll take Sixers. Take D'Angelo Russell, best non-center in the draft, and obviously they don't need. They have Noel and Embiid already, so they don't need a guy like Cauley-Stein, and I have Russell ahead of Moutier, so to me it's like a no-brainer. And as for and he'll be like Russell will instantly be the best guard on that team. They don't have, now that Carter Williams is gone, they don't really have anyone to take them into the future, so it's pretty easy.
Based on how they've done things so far this year, would you be shocked at all if they went with Porzingis and stashed him overseas all over again?
I would. I think next year they're actually they're going to try to bring over Dario Saric, and Embiid's going to be back. I think they're actually going to try to maybe not compete because they're still going to be a young team, but I think they'll actually start to want to see how their pieces mesh together.
Well, in the Eastern Conference, all you got to do is compete, and you might be battling for that.
Yeah, that team could. That team could easily be the 8th seed. The Celtics are the 8th seed right now. They're not any good.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so we have all 3 of my favorite prospects off the board already. So that sucks, Lakers. Go. Next up on the board are said Lakers. So Matt, no pressure here.
Yeah, this is big, huh?
But you're up.
This is kind of our future, I guess, huh? Probably should screw this up. Okay. With the 4th pick, it's a bit of a surprise. I don't think a lot of people have this, but I'd go Willie Cauley-Stein here.
I like it.
Get the rim protector to to play with Julius Randle, who actually coincidentally both went to Kentucky. I don't know. When you watch Willie Cauley-Stein, I just feel like he's gonna just be like a stud in the pros. Yeah, his offense has a little bit of developing, but like defensively, he's just incredible. And
lately he's shown flashes of his offensive ability too.
Yeah, he really has. He's improved a lot from his freshman year, that's for sure, and from earlier in the year even. And maybe if Uday had played in college like this year, we would have seen him and been able to judge him better. But based on what I've seen, I would take Willie Cauley-Stein here.
Now, I mean, in terms of comps, would you say Tyson Chandler, DeAndre Jordan-ish?
Yeah, definitely. I see a little bit of DeAndre in him, for sure. That's a fair comparison.
He's just so unique, though, because like in pick and roll situations, you could just switch and he can just guard whoever's handling the ball.
He can guard like the actual guard on the other team. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it has been fun to watch him be able to do that. I'm not sure how he'll be able to do that at the next level when you're talking about NBA point guards, but no, I mean it's an interesting pick, and he fits really, really well with Julius Randle.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a fun pick. Who's up next? Oh, speaking of rim protection, I was killing Robert Sacre all over our account today, and I take back not a single syllable of what I said. He is freaking garbage. He is so damn bad. Ryan Kelly came in there at the 5 and blocked a shot, and Robert Sacre was just sitting there as like Swiss cheese. Oh, I can't wait till he's not on the team.
So imagine if that's Willie Cauley-Stein next year. It'd be fun.
Right, yeah. I mean, if Ryan Kelly can block a shot, Willie Cauley-Stein is going to be like Hassan Whiteside. So, all right, so we have that was the Lakers pick. Next up is Gary. I believe you are selecting for Orlando.
That's tough because I was every like mock draft I've done, I've had Willie Cauley-Stein going to Orlando at number 5. Man, that is tough because Orlando's one of those weird teams. I feel like they just need a rim protector. They have such a logjam at like on the wing and at their guard positions. Man, I guess with the 5th pick, Orlando will take Stanley Johnson.
Stanley Johnson.
Interesting.
If they did that, they'd instantly become my second favorite team with Aaron Gordon and Stanley Johnson.
Yeah. They reached on the Arizona guy last year.
I'll agree. I'm still surprised he went 4.
Yeah.
I thought highest he'd go is like 6th.
Yeah, but I think getting Stanley at 5 isn't a reach. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they kind of have a logjam out on the wing. I don't think they need Moutier because Payton's been really good this year. Oladipo's been really good. So they've got kind of their starting backcourt there for a while. But yeah, they have some expendable players on the wing, I guess. So with no like elite rim protectors really up there, they could take it 5. I think that they would just take Stanley Johnson.
Now, I feel like, because I'm thinking about it right now, so if they do make that pick, and let's say they decide to play all their young guys again next year, you're looking at a potential all first through, 4th year starting 5 between, all the guys they have there. Would you see Orlando as a likely team to actually make a trade there and try to drop down or pick up, some type of veteran?
I mean, they have Channing Frye, but if you're Orlando, I think you just have to. They're one of those teams that they can't really. They have to be patient. They can't try to just like contend right away. It's like if you build with Stanley Johnson and then Oladipo, Aaron Gordon, and Payton, I think like building with those guys is a better option than just trying to trade one of them for an older player.
Well, and I
think like the Jazz. If you look at the Jazz, they have a lot like a similar amount of core players that are in their first 4 years.
Well, and Vucevic isn't a good rim protector, but I think with Oladipo, Payton, and Stanley Johnson, out on the perimeter, you help him out a lot by cutting off dribble penetration and just putting pressure out on the perimeter and making things easier, allowing I guess less baskets at the rim.
That makes a bunch of sense. All right, so up next is Ryan. You will be drafting for Sacto.
Yeah, another easy pick for me. The Kings will take Emmanuel Mudiay. That's best player available. The Kings basically need someone at every position except center. So
Yeah, and it's just they're actually the team that I would see is more likely to actually make a move than Orlando, as they're trying so hard right now to make Cousins happy. This year's been an unmitigated disaster for Orlando, and you have Boogie just talking about nonsense right now. I mean, and legitimately so. I could totally see him say, look, you either trade or do something to bring in some actual NBA talent, or I'm gone, or I'm demanding a trade. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan? Could you see them doing something like that?
It's tough for the Kings because I still don't understand like what they were trying to do last year when they drafted Stauskas, like a year after drafting McLemore, and it's like now that they have George Karl, it's like he might choose to go another direction. I think they'll. I mean, if a guy like Mudiay falls to them, I think they would just keep the pick. But if they don't if their best option is like Stanley Johnson or something, yeah, then maybe.
Well, and Moutier is an interesting piece there because I think he would fit well with George Karl, since Karl wants to, push the tempo, get out and run, spread the floor, things like that. And I mean, that's what Moutier is best at, is getting out, in transition, using his athletic ability to make plays, and so I think that'd be a pretty good fit there.
Yeah, and it's Boogie's still young enough to where you could just sell him on the future. You could try. I think we also might have to look at it as almost a lost battle with Boogie in Sacramento. They can try all they want, but I think he's nearing that point where it's like, get me out of this cow town.
Well, ultimately, I think when he gets like near the end of his extension, I think he'll probably get traded.
Yeah, but he's under contract for like 3 or 4 more years, I think.
Yeah,
he's gonna be there for a bit.
So I mean, the Kings, they should be patient and just say, you know what, you signed a deal with us, so you're gonna sit here and just go out there and play, and we're gonna try and figure this thing out for the time being.
That's a lot easier said than done when you're dealing with somebody as emotional as Boogie.
Yeah, but I mean, the Lakers had that situation with Kobe where he, was under contract and he wanted traded, and they just basically said, "We're not going to trade you."
But you also, I mean, like at least Jerry Buss could go to Kobe and be like, "Look, we have a proven record here of being able to turn things around." Sacramento's like, "Yeah, we went to like 1 or 2 Western Conference Finals once upon a time. Like that was fun." Up next is Detroit.
Yep.
Matt, this is your selection. So who are you looking to go to day 12?
I'm going to send Justice Winslow to the Pistons.
Winslow.
Yeah, I feel like that's someone that's been playing really well lately. Against San Diego State, he had 13-12. I think it was like 5 assists and 4 steals and 3 blocks. So he does a little bit of everything. And he's a really good 3-point shooter. He shoots 40% from downtown. I think that would be a pretty good fit in Detroit. And it's like the best player available in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Detroit, they already have a center, a point guard, and then I guess KCP they have a shooting guard. So they either need a 3 or 4. So Winslow fits perfectly.
Right.
Yeah. He's been, like you said, he's been playing really, really well lately.
Yeah.
Has anybody stepped up? I mean, while we're semi on the topic, but has anybody stepped up, and who would you say has shown you the most in terms of prospect in the tournament so far? We'll start with Ryan. What do you got?
Well, besides the obvious choices, I mean, Winslow has been really good. A lot of the knock on him during the regular season is that he'd have a really good game and then disappear for the next one. But if he's a consistent player, I mean, I could see him jumping up into the top 5 over Stanley Johnson, and he's done that so far in the tournament. So, and then there's other people like Jakob Poeltl from Utah. He's one of my favorites. He'll be playing against Okafor on Friday, I believe. So if he plays well, he's already up to 14 on Draft Express. If he plays well, he could jump into like maybe the top 10.
Makes sense. What have you guys watched much of the tournament, I guess?
I've watched a bunch of the tournament, and I would say Winslow's impressed me the most out of all the players I've seen. He was incredible in San Diego State, just on every aspect.
I think kind of a sleeper guy. I guess he's not really a sleeper now because he played well in the tournament. They got eliminated, but at kind of the tail end of the first round, R.J. Hunter, I thought played pretty well. He had that game winner too, which obviously, got him some exposure a little bit. But I think he improved his draft stock with his performance in the tournament.
That sounds good. I like it. All right. So up next, Matt, you just made that last selection, right, for Detroit?
Yeah.
So Gary, you're up for Denver.
Let's see here. This is tough. Denver's another one of those weird teams, and they don't really have a head coach right now, so it's kind of hard to do. But for them, I'm gonna just go with who I think is the best player available, and I'm gonna take Kristaps Porzingis, power forward out of Spain. I've watched film on him, and there's not a ton of film on him, but he is really, really skilled, and he's continuing to grow. I think he was like 6'9" when I first started scouting him, and now he's like 7'1" reportedly. So he just keeps growing. He needs to bulk up and get stronger, but his skill set is great for how big he is. He can shoot from the outside, put the ball on the floor. He's just really intriguing prospect, and I'm not really a big fan of Kenneth Faried. To me, he's just kind of an energy guy, like a six-man off the bench that comes in and does his work on the glass and things like that. But Porzingis, I think his skill set is really, really incredible.
I was kind of interested when he was, up, because people had him up at the top 5 for a while there, potentially going to the Lakers at 4. The pun possibilities are awesome with that guy. Like, so many Kristaps Porzingers, can just flow freely from my Twitter.
I hope the Lakers don't pick him just so you can't be tweeting puns all season.
Him and Moutier, just stay away from him. Just so Anthony doesn't go off.
Yeah, if Porzingis travels too many poor steps or too. Whoops. All right, so we have up next we have Brooklyn's pick, which is going to Atlanta. So Ryan, you have the benefit of picking for a legitimately really good team right now.
Which makes it kind of tough because you pick someone that can fit into their current roster. I mean, I guess Millsap could be gone after the year, so you have to take that into account. And they could be losing DeMar Carroll too. So, I'll say Kelly Oubre from Kansas, just because they need if Carroll does leave, which a lot of people expect him to do, they'll need a good perimeter defender.
And he's a pretty good shooter, which they like.
He's athletic.
Having 5 guys on the floor that can shoot.
The only other guy I was considering was either that Mario Hezonja guy or Kaminsky, because Kaminsky's a 5 that can shoot, and that would obviously fit perfectly with the Hawks. But I'll just take Oubre.
Well, that's another team. I mean, when you talk about draft day deals and stuff, and you're a team like Atlanta that is already the best team in the NBA, why not consolidate with that pick? Try to upgrade it at a more important position. I don't know. I just don't see the purpose of drafting a guy right now, given how good their team already is. He's not going to get minutes.
Yeah, I agree with. I mean, if they really think it depends what they do in these playoffs. They haven't been playing well lately, and if they flame out in they won't lose in the first round, but in the second round or something, they might. They could go for an overhaul or something, or you just.
Yeah, but to me, that's kind of like how the old Lakers think. the Lakers are like, playoff contenders and this and that, and it's like their refusal to add young talent to a team that's already good. And once the window closes, we're in this position now where we completely have to rebuild instead of, having some young guys to fall back on once those star players either age or they leave or whatever. So I think just adding young talent is always a good thing, unless you get a slam dunk or a home run of a deal, whatever you want to call it. But even like Cleveland this year, I didn't agree with trading Wiggins for Kevin Love.
Yeah, the Love thing is one thing. I just think, like, how often are the Atlanta Hawks going to find themselves in the situation they are right now, right? Where, and yeah, it is going to depend on how they do in these playoffs, to where they say, all right, how close are we actually? Do we need like a big name scorer for late in game situations? But like the Hawks usually suck. Like, the Hawks, like, this is the best time in the history of their franchise, pretty much, at least since Dominique, and if not ever. And it's like, all right, fine, we're really fun to watch, but if we make a trade and we can be legitimate contenders, why not try? I think it's kind of different when you're talking about the Lakers, because I think the Lakers could rebuild so quickly, whereas the Hawks, it's like you got to go for it when you can, in my opinion.
Well, you can also look at it the other way. If you're a small market, Atlanta's not really a small market team, but like they don't usually sign free agents that easily. So you can look at it and say, well, if they might lose Millsap or Carroll, they're going to need someone in the future to be a good piece of their franchise. And all the players they have now, Teague, Horford, like those guys they got through the draft. Then they got Korver and Millsap through free agency. But for that, if I'm a small market team, I would always.
Yeah, my thing on it is just basically you can never have enough young talent. So just
young.
Go ahead. We're losing Ryan, I think.
Yeah, you cut off for a sec.
Yeah.
Did you turn on the Sixers game again?
We'll go for a quick scoring update. We have damn Sixers. You're losing. I hate those guys. They're so
I'm so surprised.
All right, so Ryan just picked for Atlanta. Ryan, is your answer working?
Nope.
No. We are missing Ryan.
Sources. Okay, so am I for you? I'm from Boston.
No, you're for Indiana.
Oh, I am for Indiana.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Whoops. Boston. I forgot they're back in the playoff race.
Live TV is great.
Indiana. Okay. I'm gonna
just find a white guy, Matt. Like you're good to go. Your job is easy.
That's Utah.
Indiana for a while there too. Like after their test melee, they were like, "Look, we're gonna treat this team like The Walking Dead, and there are no black people allowed." All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna send them. Bobby Portis. It's a player I'm a big fan of his. They just lost to North Carolina, and he didn't really shoot that well, but he still had 18 and 14, which is solid. But overall, he can score. He can get rebounds. He doesn't shoot that many threes, but this year he shot like 46%, which I didn't know where that came from. But so that's a plus. And he's a pretty good free throw shooter too. So I think that's who I would take for Indiana.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Who did they lose to again in the tournament?
They lost to North Carolina.
That's right. Wanted to make sure we got that out there again.
Oh yeah.
I thanked North Carolina last podcast, but I'm gonna do it again because you guys paid for my Vegas trip and it was awesome.
It might be the last time you can thank them all season, though. Just an FYI.
If they beat Wisconsin, you can thank them because then Arizona will beat them in the Elite Eight.
I'd be all right with that too.
It's gonna be tough without Kennedy Meeks. So we'll see.
All right. So who do we got up next? Gary, you're up. you are selecting for the Charlotte Hornets, who, remember, like, for a while there that, people were saying Charlotte might be able to get home court advantage in these playoffs? That was fun. So, yeah, speaking of your North Carolina Tar Heels, we're sticking in the state. You are selecting for the Hornets.
All right, let's see here. Man, another one of those weird teams. I keep getting all the strange teams because they've got some decent young pieces, but. All right, so since Al Jefferson can opt out of his contract after this year, and if he doesn't, then he becomes a free agent next year. I'm going to give him another big man to fill in there. I'm going to give him Miles Turner out of Texas. Turner, when he was on the court, I liked what I saw. He's a little awkward with his mobility, I guess. But then again, so was Andrew Bynum when he came into the league. So, but Turner, I mean, he's not like a great explosive athlete or anything, but his defensive instincts make up for that when it comes to rim protection. He blocked, a lot of shots this year. I don't remember what his average was, but it was pretty good. Just has good defensive instincts, knows when to rotate over and contest shots, and times shots really well. That's why he's able to block them. So, and he's got a really good jumper for a big man too. He's a good free throw shooter. He's above 80%. And just steps out and can hit jumpers. So I like Miles Turner. He's got some potential to work with there.
Anybody who goes with a Texas kid, I'm down with that. The other thing too, you hit on the whole Al Jefferson thing. What do you actually think he does this year? Do you think he'll be a free agent?
I think if they miss the playoffs, I think you'll see him opt out.
I think he's gonna opt out.
It's tough because if he opts in, then he'll be a free agent when the cap rises. So if he opts out now, he'll be a free agent this offseason. So yeah, I guess it depends if they make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't know how well he's gonna cash in with that new free agent money though. I mean, he's on the wrong side of 30 anyway.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like Ryan said, I could see him opting in just for that reason alone. But I mean, like last year, they were swept out of the first round, which it was cool that they were in the playoffs and everything. But then this year, they've just taken a step backwards. I know they've battled injuries. He got hurt. Kemba Walker got hurt. So it's tough. But I could see him going either way.
Yeah. And the nice thing is, the semi-nice thing is, they are in a position where they can improve themselves, and they have some flexibility with whomever they draft there. So, next up are the poorly named Utah Jazz. We are going with Ryan Kelleher. You are selecting for, one of the most exciting cores in the NBA. So go ahead and add.
Well, that's the hard part, is because they already have a center, a power forward, Exum at point guard, and then I guess shooting guard Alec Burks. So I guess small forward's really the only thing that they have a desperate need at. So I'll take the number one small forward, which is kind of white. So Devin Booker.
Interesting. Over Kevin Looney?
I think Looney's more of a 4 than a 3.
Yeah.
And I don't I've never, every time I've watched him, I've never been that impressed by him.
Sure.
It's because Alfred just draining threes probably every time you watch.
Although, he plays terribly against us. But Looney, he's one of those guys that people say Wes Johnson, where he just disappears for stretches, and that's just pretty concerning, because the NBA, to be a consistent player, you have to be there every single night. Otherwise, you'll be one of those Wes Johnson or I can't think of anyone else at the moment, but
it's already a bad
Booker, and they need shooters too, because they'll have Gobert in the center, and Favors he doesn't stretch the floor that much, and Exum's not a great shooter, so they need a shooter.
Well, and they're at the point where they have good core group of young talent that they just really need to add depth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, because their starting five, I would imagine next year you have Exum, Burks, Gordon Hayward, Favors, and Gobert. So I mean, yeah, it's just really just adding depth, which they have Rodney Hood, he's been pretty good. So yeah, you can throw him and Booker out there in your second unit on the wing, and that's a pretty formidable group.
I guess the other player I'd consider here is Jakob Poeltl. One, because he's white, and two, because they do need another backup big.
I would. I'd wish that the NBA had some Hawaiian franchise just so that somebody could draft that Booker kid and say, Booker, Dano, just for that moment. Because why not?
I swear to God, you have all these written down in like a giant.
Yeah, there's no way you can come up with these puns just on the top of your head on the spot.
It's a gift and a curse, guys. It's a gift and a curse. Mostly a curse for you guys because you have to hear them all.
Yeah, I don't know about gift.
There's no gift to it at all.
It's actually more curse right now for me because, like I said, I sprained my neck or something, and every time I laugh at my own jokes, like it just hurts really bad. Ugh. All right, so next up is New Orleans pick, which is going to Houston, and Matt, you are selecting.
Gosh, what does this team even need?
A center.
Yeah,
I'm on the screen for Harden. Or Cauley-Stein.
I'm gonna give them. Let's go back-to-back Kentucky. I'll give them Trey Lyles, from Kentucky, who, with the 14th pick, that's actually a pretty good value pick, I would say. He's 6'10". He gets overshadowed a little bit because of the team he's on, so he doesn't get as much, props from basketball fans. But he's a pretty good player from what I've seen, and I could see him as a pretty solid fit in Houston.
Yeah, he's interesting. I mean, he's got a pretty intriguing skill set for a power forward. I think he's 6'10". He's got decent size. He's going to have to strengthen up, but
yeah.
He's pretty good mid-range jumper. He can put the ball on the floor. He's mobile. So yeah, I mean, he's an intriguing prospect, and like his mid-range shooting is good because I mean it'll help him space the floor a little bit because they like to obviously shoot threes or drive to the basket. So yeah, I mean that's an interesting fit there.
Yeah, that's 4 Kentucky picks in the top 14.
That's crazy.
Like 85% of their team's going to get drafted.
It's insane.
Well, just think about, it's a good thing college basketball doesn't have a salary cap, or else Kentucky would be screwed.
Yeah, they'd be in the luxury for sure.
Yeah.
Next up is Phoenix, and Gary, you are selecting.
All right. Well, Phoenix is another one of those teams that has good young talent. I still like the fact that they got Brandon Knight, and the Bucks have been terrible without him. I'm gonna give them Mario Hezonja. Well, I've studied him quite a bit because he's another one of those overseas guys, a relatively unknown prospect. But to me, when I watch him, he's a pretty good athlete. He doesn't look like he'd be a good athlete. He's got pretty good size. He can shoot the ball, and versatility I think would fit well with Phoenix. They like to get out and run. They also like to space the floor. So I think he could fit well in their system.
That's a guy I've seen going in the top 8 or 9 and 10 of some mock drafts. So at 15,
yeah,
that's a good value pick as well.
I mean, the thing with him, he takes bad shots. He forces a lot of shots because he can shoot and he knows, and he's able to make some ridiculous shots. But I just like his skill set. I think he can develop into a really solid NBA player. And like I said, his versatility. I think he's 6'8", but he's pretty strong too. So smaller power forwards, he can kind of guard in the post a little bit. So yeah, I just love his versatility.
Sounds good. All right, we are out of the lottery, folks. We have made it out of the lottery. Our next selection is Ryan. You are selecting for the Boston Celtics. Go ahead, give them somebody terrible. I don't care who. Bryce Alford is going to Boston.
Give him Montrezl Harrell.
Let me go all the way to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Who's on the Arizona's bench right now?
I give him T.J. McConnell, but I wouldn't want him to go to Boston. I'd have to hate him. I'll go. On a serious note, they do need a center. I mean, Olynyk's been pretty good for a second-year player, but defensively he's not very good. So I'll go Jakob Poeltl.
Hey, Boston would be perfectly happy with another white guy.
Yep.
They are.
Tradition.
Yeah.
Keller Poeltl.
Like some guy Poeltl who slows a turtle to play it.
Oh my God.
It's another guy the Lakers can't draft.
Every time he makes like a slow rotation, I'll be like, wow, he moved like a turtle, or Poeltl moved like a turtle on that rotation.
You guys are welcome. You guys can
my
use that if
God.
you want.
We just, I don't know what we're going to do about this going forward.
No, I'll post a classified ad on to try to find a new host.
Go ahead. Try to find somebody who can come up with these puns like on the dot like this. Go ahead.
Just go to like some elementary school, and they could do it probably even quicker.
Well, I mean, I have to let you guys finish talking. I'm still a decent host.
That's debatable, but let's
All right. So now that I figured out I'm not a decent host, next up is Gary, because I got that pick wrong because I'm not a decent host anymore. I'm just kidding, Gary, you're not up. Matt, you're up. You're selecting.
Yeah.
You're just getting everything wrong now. You're just.
Yeah. This is a joke.
He's rattled.
I did that on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Matt, you are selecting for Philadelphia. Their pick is going to them via Miami.
Okay. So basically, I just take someone that's probably not going to be there in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Someone that can't help them win right away.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna give him Frank Kaminsky.
Oh, that was
It's like the complete opposite of what they were looking for.
Probably not who they're gonna take, but I'm just thinking of everyone available. I would take Frank here at the spot.
I think
Here's a
player board.
Here's a hot take. I wouldn't pick Kaminsky in the first round.
In the first round?
Yeah.
You can't listen to Ryan about Kaminsky. He's still bitter that Kaminsky lit up Arizona last year in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
That's true, but at the same time, I
would take him. I would take him in the first round. I would take him in the first round.
maybe late 20s. Just for me, like I think his game it won't adjust well to the NBA. I don't think he'll be able to defend his position. He'll still be a good shooter, but then like his post game, when you watch it now, it's very slow, and the guys he's finishing over aren't NBA sized.
Yeah,
Anything to say there? I mean, you just said all of that while always defending Ryan Kelly. So
Ryan Kelly's he went in the second round.
right, but I'm just saying, like you're saying, his game isn't gonna translate to the NBA.
I mean,
but
he could be a stretch
has the same
four.
exact game as Ryan Kelly.
Yeah, and his game hasn't translated that well either. But at the same time, I would pick Kaminsky in the early second round. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't think if you pick him in the mid-first round, I don't think he'll have as much value as some of the other guys you can get there.
Would you take Rondé Hollis-Jefferson over Frank Kaminsky?
Yeah, any day. At least Rondé will come in from day one and guard 3 or 4 positions.
To me, Kaminsky reminds me a lot of Brad Miller back in the day.
That's a good one.
I mean, and he was a 2-time All-Star, so I mean, he was a good player.
So, if he turns into Brad Miller, he's going to be worth going in the top 20, 25.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Miller was just another good big man that could shoot, good size, so he could bang with guys down low, and yeah, I mean, I just see that's like the closest player comparison I can think of when I think of Frank Kaminsky. I've seen people say Dirk, and it makes me laugh.
No,
yeah, Dirk's Yeah, that's a bad one.
Can you guys tell me, go ahead and try to disparage this point, but Frank Kaminsky sounds like the detective on some CBS show. Like, tell me that doesn't happen. Detective Frank Kaminsky checking in, guys. What's going on?
Yeah.
He could be on Booker. He could be on with Booker Dano. Like, that'd be phenomenal.
I'll give you that one.
He's gonna be on like the 800th installment of the CSI shows.
Yeah, or like Law and Order or something. All right, so we have a CBS detective going to Philadelphia, which they need a lot of those. That city is all kinds of corrupt.
Yeah, you just helped them out.
Yeah. So next up is the Milwaukee Bucks, who won tonight thanks to a Chris Middleton three-pointer at the buzzer. Chris dropped a middle ton of water on the Heat.
Oh my
tonight.
God.
That was kind of fun.
And that's a recycled pun. You tweeted that earlier.
I can't help it. It was so good at the first time.
Oh my God.
This is just.
Guys, should I post the ad for a new host on Craigslist or what site?
Is this season ever gonna end? I don't know, man.
Ryan, that could be your next article for us. Try to
Yeah, find us a new host.
put together a
Wanted, new
ad
host.
for me.
No, how about this? If the Lakers, okay, we can either do the Minnesota or the Sixers game. If the Lakers, I want to say, if they beat the Sixers, Anthony isn't allowed to make any puns the rest of the season.
Ooh. You gotta agree with that. That's a must. That's a must.
Because that's like
That's a must.
that's a win for us.
So wait. So what's your bet right now?
So if the Lakers beat the Sixers when they play them here in a few games,
Yeah.
they sweep the regular season series, you're not allowed to make any more puns the rest of the regular season.
I can't do that. Like, why would I root against the Lakers winning?
I was gonna say I don't know what I would root for, the tank or just have no more puns.
It's a win-win.
Like, I'm telling you guys, every time somebody makes a bad joke on Twitter, it's like automatically, did Anthony Irwin hack your account?
Well,
It happens so often.
you go down your timeline, that's all it is. It's just bad joke, recycled joke.
And it's
Something-
like
Something
anytime
about
I
win.
make a pun, I can't because I know somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, this has to be just Anthony hacking in."
No, if anything, it's your guys' safety net. I'm your safety pun net. That like, all right, you guys can make a terrible joke and then claim that I hacked your account. Everybody would understand. So next up, after we just did Philadelphia, no, we just did Milwaukee. Next up is Washington,
That's me.
and it is Ryan, right?
No, I haven't done Milwaukee.
Oh,
Wait, you haven't done Milwaukee?
I haven't.
no, you've been blabbering the whole time.
Nobody
Yeah, we
cares
talked about your.
Milwaukee.
Because you made that damn Chris Middleton pun.
Oh, that's right. That was my bad. All right. So, who's Milwaukee taking?
Okay, so.
You guys were all passing the buck, by the way. You guys could have been taking.
Oh my God.
This is unreal.
I gotta pick for Philly again.
So with the 17th pick for Milwaukee, I'm going to take DeLon Wright. Just because he can play point or shooting guard. I'm not a big fan of Michael Carter-Williams at all. I don't know if you guys saw that vine today of him trying to throw the alley-oop that literally went over the backboard.
He's the
So
worst.
I mean, he had a good rookie season for Philadelphia in a pretty weak rookie class, but yeah, I'm just not a big fan of his. But DeLon Wright, he just seems like he keeps getting better and better over time. His shooting, especially, he was a really poor shooter a couple years ago, and now he's a decent outside shooter. You know, he's not a specialist or anything, but that's improving. His feel for the game is incredible, and he's a good defender. I mean, he has really good lateral quickness and can stay in front of guys. And yeah, I think he'd be a good fit there. And the downside to him is he'll be 23 when the draft rolls around, but I think he'll be able to produce, quickly for them because of that.
I'm wearing a Syracuse shirt. Let's try to not have Michael Carter-Williams references, if possible.
Has Kevin Looney gone yet?
No.
It's just crazy to me.
And I was thinking about that too for Milwaukee, but when you look at their roster, they've got Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jabari Parker already there, like at the 3 or 4 spots. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard.
I don't really like Kevin Looney. That's why I was trying to hope Ryan would take him.
I'm just shocked he's fallen this far, considering like he's a lottery guy for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But every draft.
Draft Express has him at 19 now. He's been falling.
Yeah, but every draft though, there's always a guy that either gets drafted way too early or a guy that falls. So.
So you're saying Kevin Looney's going to be Kawhi Leonard? Got it.
Hopefully he doesn't attend the draft. That's just so.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
He'd still be
losing, so.
at his phone.
All right. So next up is
I got Washington.
Ryan at Washington. Yep.
Yeah. We need a small forward.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll take Looney. I'll take Looney here because one, they have like the front court of Nene and Gortat right now, and like Looney kind of gives them a different look 'cause he's more of a 3-4, where Nene's more of a 4-5, and he probably has the highest upside of anyone still on the board. So.
And they can afford to take a risk right now.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, Nene's a free agent, I think, after next season, too. So
Yeah.
so if he leaves, you got your replacement there with Gortat.
Makes sense. I just the only thing, I mean, because the rumor, right, is how whether or not Kevin Durant might make his way to Washington, right? So, did they select a small forward with that in mind?
No, you don't. You don't consider that.
The Lakers have been doing that. They've been thinking that LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony would come for like 3 years. So, and they're a decent franchise. Washington sucks at what they do.
I don't know if they assume those guys are going to come. I just think that they're trying to be smart with their money and avoid like Lance Stevenson type contract.
By the way, I didn't tweet this, but Harrison just recycled my joke and said Washington selects Kevin Looney. I think it's Looney that Kevin fell this far.
Oh my!
We're gonna have to get it. We're gonna have to get rid of him too.
We have 2 open positions there, everyone. We have a host and someone to tweet.
So yeah, we're literally going to have to package you both in a trade.
We're gonna have to give out some salary we're gonna have to take on some salary just to get rid of him.
Hey, you can go ahead and move me if you want, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you have less trade value than doing it.
We're going to have to pass on picks with you. Somebody can take you.
I'd happily go to a more lucrative podcast. Happily. All right. So next up is Matt. You are drafting for Philadelphia.
Like, who do I take for them? It's like they already got Kaminsky already. So I guess we can go. Is there a point guard?
You drafted.
Smith.
We drafted Russell.
Oh,
Yeah,
they drafted.
Oh, that's right. But Russell could play 2 positions, though, right? So you could be flexible too.
I'm gonna give him Buddy Hield from Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a reach.
The Draft Express had him at 46.
46, really?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I like him more than. I think he's gonna end up being a late first rounder, early second rounder. I watched him a little bit in this tournament, and he's a little small. He's like 6'4". So that's the one concern that most people have with him. But
Matt, go ahead and repeat that name like 5 times so that poor Harrison can know who you're tweeting about.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I think it's Buddy Hield from Oklahoma.
You're taking a dude named Buddy.
Buddy.
Silly Buddy.
Oh my god. Gotta be kidding me.
We gotta
All
come
right,
up with like a pun counter and put it at the bottom of the screen.
It'd be broken by now.
I mean, it's a really efficient pun counter. Next up is Gary. You are selecting for our brothers from the North, Toronto. Who are you taking for the Raptors?
Yeah, hashtag we the North. I feel like I got to text Drake and see who he wants.
Yeah, I gotta consolidate it.
Okay, let me see here. I feel like since they didn't beat them, since they beat them, I gotta get somebody cares.
Wait, one more time. You're kind of going in and out.
It's like an echo, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody's echoing for me too.
Yeah.
Someone has two screens open?
No.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
All right. So go ahead, Gary. Who do you got?
Okay. So I'm gonna give them Jaren Grant out of Notre Dame. He's
That's your boy.
really, they're another team that just kind of needs depth. They've got a pretty good young talent. So I like Jaren Grant. He's got a good feel for the game. Senior, he'll be able to contribute right away. And yeah, I just like his game. He's a good leadership, and I think he would fit well with a team that's competing in the playoffs.
That makes sense. I like it. I mean, they're all these guys now all these teams who are drafting at this point. They're just trying to fill whatever hole they can or add to whatever depth they can.
Yeah, and he's been kind of quiet lately, but he's shown this year, especially like in the Duke game, that he can just take over whenever he needs to. So, yeah, I mean, I've been a big fan of his.
Gotcha. All right. So next up we have Ryan. You are selecting for Chi-Town.
Yep. Trying to think. They could use a point guard since Derrick Rose's knees could just shatter. So I'll take Chris Dunn from Providence.
Chris Dunn. What position does he play?
He's a point guard.
Gotcha.
6'9".
Derrick Rose's replacement, Chris Dunn. In case Derrick Rose is done, they have a guy named Chris. Harrison, go ahead and talk a little bit more about him. I mean, is he? What else does he bring to the table? Is he a distributing point guard or?
He's like an athletic. He's like an athletic point guard. He's not a great shooter at the moment, but he's a defense. He's not. He's only 6'2.5", but he's like a 6'9" wingspan. He averages 2.7 steals a game, 7.5 assists. He turns the ball over a little too much, but he's a good distributor, like, overall.
Would he immediately step in for Kirk Heinrich, I guess?
Well, anyone could step in for Kirk Heinrich, yeah.
Fair point.
Although, like, they have Van Brooks, and he's a lot better already.
Right. I just know Tibbs loves him some Kirk Heinrich for some reason.
It's like Byron Scott and Boozer.
And Ronnie Price,
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so next up, Matt, you have Dallas at 22.
I'm assuming Rajon Rondo is not going to come back, so I'm going to go ahead and give him a point guard, and I'm going to give him Tyus Jones from Duke, who has also another player on Duke that's been pretty solid the last few games. I think he struggled a little bit with his shot against San Diego State, but in the 2 North Carolina games is where he really shined. And
yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Sorry. But basically, I mean, he's someone I think has a really pretty high basketball IQ, and I think he's ready to go. Especially with Dallas, I think it'd be a good fit.
Would you also call him scrappy?
I don't know if I would call Tyus Jones scrappy.
I do like though,
Does he know?
like in all those Duke games, he takes big shots and has no problem doing so.
Yeah, especially in North Carolina.
And when you're talking about a team like Dallas, who again they're kind of at the end of their prime, they need somebody who would step in and not be afraid of big moments because he's probably going to be jumping on a playoff team.
And that would be another good fit because I mean, as long as he goes to a team that just needs a good solid point guard, I think he'll be fine. But if he goes to a team that needs him to develop into a superstar or something, I think I don't think that he's got that level of potential. I think he's just a good solid starting point guard that makes the plays he needs to. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that he has like a high ceiling, and I don't think that he has a high ceiling. I just think he's a good, steady, reliable point guard that, you know, can go out and make plays that need to be made, kind of like Derek Fisher did. You know, Fisher was, you know, not a star point guard or anything, but when you needed him, he showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think
that's a good analogy. I like that analogy, Tyus Jones.
I think he's going exactly where he should. 22nd in the draft, which is, I think, is what you would get out of a 22nd pick is what I think Tyus Jones could give you.
All right, so Gary, which future Hall of Famer will San Antonio select at 23?
Oh man, I got too much pressure. Way too much pressure. All right, let's see. I talked about him a little bit earlier, and I think he would fit well with the team concept that San Antonio has, and that's R.J. Hunter out of Georgia State. He's a coach's son, so, you know, I mean, he's got a good feel for the game, probably high IQ, decent shooter. He's kind of streaky at times this year, but for some reason when guys go to San Antonio, they instantly become three-point specialists. And, yeah, I think he would fit well because, I mean, he struggles a little bit to create his own offense, I think, sometimes. But with San Antonio, you don't hardly ever have to worry about that unless you're Tony Parker in pick-and-roll situations. So I think, you know, that's the ideal fit for a guy like R.J. Hunter who can go in, space the floor, and just provide, you know, a good solid feel for the game.
Sounds good. And that seems like exactly the kind of guy Pop would like, too.
Yeah, I can already see R.J. Hunter hitting big shots in the playoffs in like 6-7 years.
All right, so next up is Cleveland. Ryan, you are selecting for the city King James built.
And I hate to do this to one of my favorite college players, but Rondé Hollis-Jefferson to the Cavs. It already gives them another elite perimeter defender with Shumpert. And, well, not LeBron anymore. He's not a good defender anymore. But they need perimeter defense. So like, he's a monster in transition. So.
Yeah, and you know, he's not a freshman, right? So
sophomore. Like, offensively in the NBA, in his first few years, he's not going to be able to do much. He'll be able to finish at the rim and in transition, but defensively he'll come in, he can guard point guard, shooting guard, small forwards, maybe some fours, depending on who they are. And just like that type of defensive versatility is something that like Cleveland really needs.
I feel like he's just going to have to embrace the Tony Allen role.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I mean, if they somehow find Tony Allen at the 24 spot in this draft, like, all praise goes to Cleveland there.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you have for Portland at 25?
I think Portland's going to go small forward here. You know, they could use one, but add in Wesley Matthews going down. And someone I really like to be a late first-round pick, to be a steal as a late first-round pick, is Sam Decker from Wisconsin. He just will play at Wisconsin. You watch him play, and he just fits perfectly there. And he's kind of someone that can do a little bit of everything as well. And I think that when if he goes to Portland, I can see that being a tremendous fit as well.
That sounds good. The Wes Matthews thing is interesting. I think, like, on one hand, obviously you don't want to see one of your key guys go down with an Achilles thing, but I also think it probably saved Portland a bunch of money.
Yeah.
That he did when he did. So. Next up, we have the Celtics. Gary, go ahead and send somebody terrible there.
I'm looking at the tail end of the second round for these guys.
Why go that high?
Okay, Boston. Let's see.
They're right above us again this year too.
And
At the
wait,
moment.
who did they draft with the first pick?
Jakob Pertl.
Pirtle, that's right. Okay. All right, so I am going to give them. Man, this is tough. So I drafted a big. I'm going to give them Justin Anderson out of Virginia, just because I think they could use some guys out on the wing. Since they drafted Pirtle first, that's they added another big man that they needed. They drafted James Young last year, but he hasn't really done a whole lot. They've got Marcus Smart, Isaiah Thomas, and Avery Bradley. So I mean that's a pretty good three-guard rotation there. So I think just adding a wing player, and Justin Anderson's a big physical wing, defends well. He was a pretty good three-point shooter this year, and I like him. I think he's got a good foundation to work with and some good physical tools.
Boston's a likely candidate, I think, to move their second-round pick because they have so many picks total.
Oh yeah.
I like the pick for them, but I also think that Ainge is at that point now where, especially considering they're in the playoffs as we speak, that he starts thinking, all right, so do we want to tank further or keep tanking or try to actually do something in the playoffs? Just do anything to avoid getting stuck in that purgatory of that 7th and 8th seed, especially in the East. Next up, Ryan, you have the pressure of selecting for the Lakers here with the 27th overall pick.
Since Cauley-Stein went number 4 to the Lakers, I'll pick a guard. I'll go Caris LeVert from Michigan. Athletic, shooting guard, small forward, not a bad shooter, good defender.
That sounds good. I'm down with that.
Is he for sure? Sorry, one last thing on him. Is he for sure going to come out to the draft?
No.
Yeah, that's someone that I could see coming back.
If not him, then I'd probably, if he doesn't, let's say, I'd go Sam Decker from Wisconsin.
I think he was already taken.
If he's there, yeah, hopefully.
Someone took. I don't think anyone. Took him.
I took him 2 picks ago.
Man.
Yeah, it's a good thing I'm hosting, right? I'm gonna put a Craigslist ad on people named Ryan from Arizona.
Then Caris LeVert, and then if he didn't come out, I would take. Man, the list is like.
Yeah,
he's coming out. I don't. He's coming out.
That's our guy. Yeah, no choice.
All right, so Caris LeVert, I don't know if you're listening right now, but you are definitely coming out for this year's draft. All right, we have the 28th pick. We have 3 picks remaining. Matt, you are selecting for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, this is Memphis? Let's see.
Well, while Matt's thinking, we have a score update. The Sixers are down 1 with 39 seconds left. The Kings have the ball.
I've been following that game the whole time. The Sixers were up by 3 with like a minute left, and then they can't score.
And then Sam Hinkie was over there in the corner.
I have him down by 2. Oh, there it goes.
They just
Stay back.
throw it.
Is Montrezl Harrell still out there?
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't want him.
I don't want him either. I mean, is it like 20? What are we, 28?
Guys, I think Harrison might be drunk.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that last tweet.
I mean, that's just not. That's poor execution. Oh man, I'm gonna have to talk to Harrison. Hey, his name is Harrison, not Harrapun. in his
I'm
defense.
afraid to look.
I haven't seen it yet.
Next up,
Okay.
so yeah, Matt, you're still up for.
How about for Memphis? It's a hard team to figure out like what exactly they need.
Basically, anybody who can't shoot is going to Memphis.
I'm gonna give him Jordan Mickey, from LSU, who's some people have him in the late first round, some people have early second round, but basically at LSU he was almost a double guy, 15.4 rebound or 15.4 points, 9.9 rebounds, shot 50%. He averaged 3.6 blocks per game this year, so that was pretty insane. And I don't know, that's the guy that I could see going late in the first round to one of these teams that have a good foundation and just looking for another bench player.
Well, I think too with Zach Randolph getting a little older, bringing in another big to try to play alongside Marcus Gasol makes some sense there.
Yeah.
All right, the next player or the next pick to be made will be by Gary. You are selecting for the Nets, who are picking down at 29 because they're sending their top 10 pick to Atlanta.
All right, so for the Nets, I'm going to just take a guy that I really liked. I've watched him play this year and been impressed. Out of LSU is Jarrell Martin.
Back to back.
Like I said, I just like his game. He's kind of a tweener a little bit, between a 3 and a 4, but I think he can play 4 in the NBA. He's got a good skill set. I think he's a decent mid-range shooter. He pulled out that through the legs dunk in a game this year when he got a breakaway, which was nuts. But
that was like a big game too, and it was a tie game at the time, and it just like actually sparked. It was a really dumb decision, but like it actually sparked the team up. I remember that.
That's just such a confident player there. So
yeah.
And that's such a Brooklyn net move too. Like that'd be such a Brooklyn net move to do.
It was a must-win game. Like that was a game where if they lost, like at the time they were like on the bubble. So
yeah. So I mean, but hey, he pulled it off. But I like his skill set. As long as he can find his niche in the NBA, I think he's gonna be pretty solid.
All right, and last but not least, we have Ryan. You're picking for Golden State.
Who
will they bring in to replace Draymond Green?
I hate
Philly
this
just
pick,
lost,
but I'll
by the
say
way.
Montrezl Harrell.
Ooh.
Because he's like the best player available. He's a good defensive player. But
Montrezl Harrell goes to Golden State. Philadelphia just lost.
yeah.
So way to go, Philly.
Down
Jackets.
1 with the ball, they didn't even get a shot.
Of
Shocker.
course
Good
not.
tanking.
They probably just dribbled there in the corner.
Looked like it could have been a foul, but
Philly. I mean, like Hinkie probably was out there being like a 6th defender out there. Which, I mean, to be honest, wouldn't have really done much, but still, he could have tried.
Well,
All right, so
it's a bad
that wraps up our first round. We will not be going into the second round because that would be nearing a 2-hour-long podcast. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Ryan, for joining in today. Thank you, Harrison, for manning the tweets, and thank you, everybody, for standing my puns. They're going to keep on coming unless the Lakers beat unless the Lakers lose to the Sixers. Do they have to lose both for me to stop punting? Is that how that goes?
No, just the Sixers game.
All right, so I'll try to make that deal, but to be fair, I honestly can't even help myself. So, like a lot of these are just out-of-body experiences.
Oh my God.
So again, thank you guys for joining in. Thank you everybody who's clicked on our site so far. Go ahead and keep those clicks coming. Go ahead and talk about, just briefly talk about what your articles were about. I wrote a completely sarcastic article about why Byron Scott should not be fired because I'm not usually sarcastic. Gary, what did you do? We'll start out with you.
I'm sorry. You'll have to repeat that. You were kind of cutting out on me.
Oh, we'll just briefly talk about the articles or what work you've done for the site so far.
Oh, well, I did like the FAQ, the frequently asked questions regarding the draft. A lot of questions. We get a lot of questions, obviously, when we do these podcasts, and we implore our viewers to ask us questions. And the first one that pops up is always, who should the Lakers draft, or this and that. It doesn't answer anything in those regards, but like in terms of like the draft process, the Lakers' odds of keeping their pick, where they might end up, stuff like that. It just kind of addresses those questions. And I also put on there, if anybody has any other questions, to feel free to just contact us, and we'll make sure we get it answered and throw it on there.
So just so we're all clear here, Gary just said the question that we get most often, he didn't actually answer in the piece. So
well, it's like
in the frequently asked questions piece, he did not answer our most frequently asked question.
Well, and it's impossible to answer when you don't know where you're going to be,
Ryan,
it's like,
Ryan did that, right? Where he covered who we're going to draft.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like the whole who should the Lakers target in free agency thing. It's like we don't know until the draft happens.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fair. Just giving Gary a hard time because I like to give Gary a hard time.
Yeah, well, we're planning the intervention for your puns right now. So,
Matt, what did you write for the site so far?
I predicted the last 14 games of the season. We're off to a 1-1 start with the predictions, as I had a loss to OKC. I went on a limb with the loss to OKC. Basically, I have us going 3-11 the rest of the way. So we'll see. We'll see if that works out.
What did you have for tomorrow's game?
I think I had them losing that. Who are we playing again?
Timberwolves.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I have them losing it because it's on the second of a back-to-back on the road. So.
All right. So we have our predictions for the rest of the way, and then finally, Ryan, what have you worked, or what did you do for us?
Well, first of all, I have 500 more page views than Anthony. I just need to point that out there. And then also, I ranked the top 6 draft prospects based on how they fit with the Lakers, and then I had like a brief, or depending on the player, like Towns, I had like a pretty lengthy description on why. So it's the best piece on the site.
That's fine. That's the page views are because you titled your last article "Kate Upton accident." So yeah, that does it for us here. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you guys for coming on. And again, we are now Lakers Outsiders. It's still a Team Tank podcast, but we are now the Lakers Outsiders. So I'll talk to you guys soon.